This is a clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center on this Sunday evening to bring you an update on a severe storm warning that's in play for parts of Nassau, Camden, and Charlton counties here until about 8:30. See the yellow box in our area. We have another one to the north outside of the area towards Savannah. You see the nicer conditions here in terms of the rain not falling anymore right now toward areas like Perry there in Taylor County. All clear, at least toward Tallahassee. Some more rain coming in, but not severe weather there anymore. Albany, no more severe weather coming toward you. Adel, Valdosta, you kind of get the idea. The areas outside of that green zone there are outside the severe threat at this point, but we have areas here further over toward northeast Florida and southeast Georgia that have some type of threat, even down in north central Florida as well. The threat is definitely still there. It definitely persists to some extent, so we got to be kind of careful here. And I'll go ahead and kind of see a closer in look at this warning now. Again, we're watching some rotation around Folkston. You can see here this warning goes to just west there of Interstate 95. So we'll continue to kind of watch this. The rotation here, maybe not quite as strong or quite as clear as it was a moment ago as it was trying to get together there right here. It looks like the Okefenokee Parkway, but you can see we had that warning issued. We still have some greens and reds coming together. A lot of this more just over and toward Florida here as we're looking there north of Hilliard really. But there's some of this here, this into South Georgia as well. It's kind of more about straight line winds right now. It looks like more into Georgia and the counties there. But in Florida, it looks like more rotation trying to exist there just southeast of Folkston in this vicinity, at least though at this point. So wanted to be on with all the history of the severe storms we've had today, the tornadoes that we had here across the area. We had several tornadoes apparently touch down. It'll have to be confirmed later on, but damage toward Adel there in Cook County. So looks like in our area, McCulloch County, we had a possible tornado there. No warning in play then when the tornado occurred, unfortunately, but we'll get more information on that later on. Outside of our area, there were also two apparent tornado touchdowns. Damage toward Walton County will be evaluated tomorrow by the National Weather Service in Tallahassee, and then Jacksonville office will be evaluating damage in Bacon County, Georgia. That looked more severe than anything based on the debris signature that we saw here within our systems. Again, the damage will have to be confirmed, evaluated by the Weather Service offices, but it looked like that was about the strongest tornado we had, the one in Bacon County. If I had to kind of just guesstimate here per se and rank the four, I mean, I would say that one in Bacon County was the worst. Adel was probably number two, but again, it's going to be determined, I should say, by the damage in and of itself, and then we'll have to see between the McCulloch tornado. I don't know if it actually hit any buildings down there. The one in Walton damaged 10 buildings from what I was reading earlier on, so we'll kind of see what 3 and 4 are there as well, but it'll all be determined based on the actual damage in and of itself. But right now we have an active warning, so that's why we're on. There's a little bit of something right near the state line. And now, is it really aligned? I'm looking here. It could be trying to get aligned, but right there, closer toward that state line there, really, where we have this little indentation here. Let me go ahead and point it out because I know there's some indentions here, more than one. But right now, maybe a little bit of rotation right in there. So we'll see if we get upgraded to a tornado warning, but right now it's a severe thunderstorm warning. But just with the history of these storms we've had here today and the tornado possible tag in here, I wanted to go ahead and get out ahead of it in case we get a tornado warning issue, so we can be first on here to give you guys the very latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out a little bit right now real quick. See some other areas toward Brunswick. I know I was watching a little bit of rotation up there. It looked like earlier on there's still a little bit up there, and we actually have a severe warning up towards Savannah. If you look closer to the top of the screen there, that's a severe thunderstorm warning there with a tornado possible tag issued by the Charleston office till 9 o'clock for Chatham County, Bryan counties there as well, and Georgia, and then some South Carolina counties in there too. So we'll be watching that gust potential. This is about wind gust, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust right now, possible around Hilliard, Folkston, Homeland, and Keens Ferry. So just be watching. We haven't got necessarily any type of debris signature that I've seen. We'll double check some stuff here just to make sure. To say that, there's a little bit of a notch here. I would think that's probably inflow, though. That doesn't look like it's lining up quite right. So that's the good news. The kind of bad is up a little bit. It gets kind of murky in here at times. I mean, where there could be inflow kind of mixing with that, but not clear enough. It didn't look like from that vantage point for the Weather Service to issue anything there. in terms of a tornado warning. I know we had another area that was kind of murky earlier on. I haven't seen anything confirming some of that damage we were watching there in the edges of some of our counties earlier on, but we may have had another tornado touchdown in there too. It'll be all evaluated by the National Weather Service offices in Jacksonville and Tallahassee, and there still might be more damage to evaluate from what's in the here and now. So that's for one live with you right now. Let's get to the south a little bit, because I know if you're watching in Bradford County, you're kind of wondering how this stuff's going to act here that moves further east. And I can't give you an all clear here if you're in Stark or Laurie or Keystone. We got to watch this. Let me take off our warning so I don't confuse it. There's no warning down here. We have the warning up to the north, but you can see down here we have significant weather advisories for gusts of 45 to 55 miles an hour. I think one of these is set to expire now. We'll see if we get an extension of one of those advisories, or if they go ahead and go with us a thunderstorm warning. It's not out of the question. I mean, the winds so far not so too high in Lake City, but the velocities look pretty impressive here close to I-75 in southern Columbia County. Some of this doesn't look really organized, but right now this is kind of probably just on the cusp of becoming severe, but maybe just below it. We have to watch that, because some of these greens and reds can come together a little bit. I know the Weather Service was watching something in Suwannee County earlier, a little bit of weak rotation out there. Didn't have any warning for that region, but you just got to watch for a quick spin up. Winds can kind of develop with little or no advance warning sometimes, so be careful. You continue to watch, continue to track things. Go back to the north now. We'll go ahead and see some of this stuff up here. This looks like a little bit of rotation here northeast of Woodbine, so just kind of keep an eye on that. I don't know if it's really matching up, though, actually, as they kind of evaluate that. East of Brunswick, there's actually some that does match up. It's pretty high on the radar beam, but there actually is a little bit of rotation there as we're looking northwest of Sea Island. So that's something to watch there. That looks a little more in line with everything we're seeing. Under the Weather Service just gave us an update. This is looking more linear now, and I agree with them. This is not rotating as much as when we first came on a few minutes ago, or just before we came on even. We got to watch, because we can have a quick spin up with little warning here. So I just want people to be on guard still. There's no formal watches in play with the marginal risk to 1 out of 5, but been a higher end marginal risk for sure. Just there wasn't 100% confidence. There never is 100%, but there wasn't enough confidence to go with a higher than 1 out of 5 risk today. But probably on more of that 2 out of 5 risk level with the tornadoes that we may have had here today. Unfortunately, at least maybe more in that lower 2 out of 5, just based on history here. The rotation just enough. I know the logo is really red for Wednesday's threat, which could be more organized in nature. Doesn't mean the same areas are going to get hit. They probably won't in theory. That doesn't mean they won't either, of course. Cook County, another tornado on the 6th year anniversary this Sunday of the just historic outbreak that we saw toward Albany and Adel and other areas there in between. 6 years ago on that Sunday, January 22nd, 2017 there. This Sunday, January 22nd, 2023. So the threat then, much worse in the overall scope of things. But here today, we're still watching the scenario. We're still watching things here in the Weather Center. That's why we're on live with you to protect you, your friends, and your family. We got to watch for a quick spin up here along this line, as we just got a warning canceled now for Charlton County, but they're going to go ahead and keep it for parts of Nassau and Camden until about 8:30, so for another 12 minutes. We'll see if they get a new warning out toward Kingsland or not. They could. I mean, there's enough wind in here, you could kind of make an argument that it could be enough to issue a new severe thunderstorm warning out. Right now, not enough rotation for sure within this to issue a tornado warning. Here we have some little broad areas we got to pay attention to, and even down here, the winds don't look quite as strong as maybe they were looking off the Moody site, but a little bit of wind enhancement southwest of Fort White right now. And just in general for you guys to kind of get an idea of how things are going here. This accent is moving really generally east at 50, 55, looking at the thunderstorm warning 55 miles an hour. So if you're wondering how things might look for the worst around Stark, I would say right now, as I'm kind of doing some evaluations with our tools here behind the scenes, probably the worst around Stark will probably be coming in here, I would say maybe within the next half hour to hour. That's a guesstimate right now. I mean, it can kind of be a little bit tricky at times because movement isn't going to be exactly precise on us. Kind of look, it might be, a little bit closer, maybe like to 9 o'clock or just after. It'll be close, though, just in that general range around 9 o'clock. I think somewhere around 9 for the worst of this to move in towards dark, but it just, plus minus a little bit. So, again, we'll continue to watch. Maybe not get any warnings, so we may have to be on when it's in this dark area. That'd be good if stuff wasn't that nasty. Right now, no advisories even for that accident there along parts of that line, at least a part in Gilchrist and Suwanee and Columbia, which is good news, but things can change here quickly, so we got to be kind of careful here. It was so warm today that even though maybe some of the other perimeters are lacking, some of that can kind of carry things along a little bit. So we just have to kind of be careful here in this situation. So again, we're watching around Brunswick. There's nothing severe technically up here. We'll watch stuff. Some stronger winds, maybe upward to about 50, 55 miles an hour. Moving in toward that community there, highly populated area, Glenn County there. And then as we get toward Camden County, you see some stronger wind. It's sort of close to 60 in some of this. They may issue a new thunderstorm warning. But some of this is showing up aloft and not reaching, so that's the question. It's kind of iffy here, but we'll continue to watch. No damage reports out of that yet. Of course, we've had other damage reports today coming on in. In fact, I'll try to run some of those down for you. I'll pop my mother computer source here just to kind of let you guys know. If you haven't been paying attention, maybe watching football today and haven't been staying tuned to the latest, I've had quite a few different reports coming on in here. I'll go ahead and put up our filtered reports on our other system. So we had a tornado, it looks like, with a debris signature 1 mile southeast of Sparks and Cook County. Some other possible tornadoes toward Culla and toward Bacon County and Walton County. That was technically before a time of 7 a.m. when this kind of gets reset here on our board. But then we had some wind damage there. And so we're looking toward other parts of Wakulla County, near Wakulla Springs, Center Hill, and Colquitt County. Some trees down. Jefferson County, fallen trees and limbs resulting in a power outage near the intersection of Wakena Highway and Highway 19. Brooks County around Quitman. We had tree limbs that were blown down onto a few roads in that area. Southeastern Berrien County Airport area, a few trees down near the Teeterville Road. Madison County, a couple trees blown down. One on Highway 53 North, and in Lowndes County, a tree down near Pikes Pond Road. So I know we haven't got official gusts, maybe I don't believe to 60 today. But we've got some damaging winds that are definitely indicative here of winds that are in that general range, maybe just a little under, because we had conditions saturated enough that might have been more favorable to knock them down to trees and the like. But again, we're going to keep watching the radar here. I know we cover our 62 counties really closely, really carefully here. You can get a map of our covered area at cloudweather.com. Or cloudweather.com/live. 62 counties still important. We're always on for any tornado warning storm to move through any one of those like we were today. I know Wakulla wasn't officially warned. It's just a situation. If it's not warned, it kind of makes things a little bit tricky there. But we've been on for all tornado warning storms move through our area since late 2019 here from the Weather Center, because it's so important to be here, be that messenger here of the information that you need in these type of situations. I know I see a little bit of weak spin, maybe here near US 1, just south of Hilliard. It's not in the warning itself. It's really weak, but it's there. I mean, it's trying to spin a little bit just southeast of Hilliard. As we look for debris, I don't see any right now matching up. We'd have to be co-located with the area of rotation. I don't see it right now, but we'll keep watching and monitoring it, obviously, because things can change. Stronger winds, maybe not severe, but it could be moving toward Kingsland here over the next few moments. You really want to be inside and away from windows there. As you're in that area around Interstate 95. So again, just be really careful there. I know they're saying a strengthening core south of Woodbine may be capable of producing small hail and strong gusts up to 50. That makes me think they may go with an advisory over a warning unless something changes in the next few moments. But we'll see for sure. We'll just have to kind of see what the trends are over the next few scans, few moments. That'll be the weak rotation there, just west of Kingsland. I don't know if it's matching up all that good though. Trying to check the timestamps, and it may be trying to spin a little bit. Not enough for a tornado warning at this point. This is a thunderstorm warning situation right now with a tornado possible tag. So we're just going to keep scanning the radar here and our velocity signatures to kind of let you guys know exactly what's going on as we try to protect you, try to protect your friends, try to protect your family here on this Sunday night. So just trying to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on here in the Weather Center. You can see this stuff down here doesn't necessarily have an advisory on it. That's moving toward Lake Butler right now, away from Lake City. But actually, as I look at the velocity, it looks like it went to ramp back up a little bit on us. So western parts of Union County, gusts to about 50 miles an hour around County Road. It looks like 241 now, so went up on the Doppler. So something to watch here. And you still can't completely rule out a quick spin up. So even if we go off, we don't have any formal warnings here in a little bit. Don't let your guard down here. If you hear a freight train noise, even without a tornado warning in play around like Stark or Gainesville, or maybe not as much Gainesville because of the motion of this, but you just never know if things fill in, or Jacksonville even. We'll just have to kind of be watching to make sure if you hear that type of noise, get in that tornado safe spot, even if you don't have a tornado warning in play for your area. So, got the one warning right now in our viewing circle. They just went with a significant weather advisory now for parts of Bradford County and a few other zones here around us until 9 o'clock. Baker, Nassau, as they kind of go over this. Gilchrist as well, Alachua. Just going through these here. I'll go ahead and start from the top. There's just so many counties that just added to this. So, Gilchrist, Nassau, Bradford, Alachua, Baker, Union, Columbia, Duval, Camden, and Charlton. Through 9 o'clock, we have some gusty wind potential now. Just a level under the severe criteria. The severe was 60-mile-an-hour wind plus. This is less than that, but it does include Stark now. So moving through Stark around 9 o'clock, could have even not just a gust of 55 in here, but maybe a quick land spout, which would be weaker level tornado, not enough to really cause major damage, possibly, but it could cause some damage that could impact you. So got to be kind of careful here. We'll keep you guys updated, obviously, as we just check out all the latest information here. I just want to make sure everybody kind of knows what's going on here. On this Sunday, you're focusing on football. Everybody wants to watch football, probably almost right now, or maybe you're headed back from church, and you have other things in your mind here on this Sunday. So I just got to keep things in mind here, other than what you would like to. You don't want to think about the weather probably when you have a day off, but right now you have to think about the weather in some of these areas here, because these are some pretty nasty conditions moving on through. I like thinking about the weather, but that's a different story. You guys obviously probably don't really want to be thinking about this stuff here that could be impacting your community and could be impacting your friends and family. So, again, Woodbine, quite a bit of lightning right now. The Interstate 95. Again, you see some winds aloft. Are they reaching or not? That's the question. Down toward Kingsland there. We're going to keep watching down there in southern parts of Camden County. You can see a little bit of weak rotation there, just north of Callahan by a few miles. It's southeast of Hilliard Road here in Nassau County. I'm going to put a mouse on to see what I'm talking about. It's right in there. A little bit of broad something trying to develop. Yeah, you could argue it one way or the other. I hear some rain on the roof where we're at here in Bradford County. Some of this passing accent out ahead here, trying to get in. You have more behind, but then this is a more focus concern here as we get toward that 9 o'clock benchmark. Again, if we don't have a warning in play, we're probably not going to be on. So we're going to see something really definitive here on the Doppler. We've had, and they just dropped the warning to the north. So unless we get something new next few minutes, I'm going to wrap it back up. Do have a little bit of rotation right near I-95 here north of Kingsland, but it's not enough really at this point to be overly concerned. But we'll watch it. But this stuff here is moving toward Lake Butler over the next little bit. It's not severe. So unless we get warnings again, I'll go ahead and wrap it up here soon. But I want you to know, let's say 15 minutes at Lake Butler, and then, maybe about 45 minutes towards Stark, maybe closer to 30 minutes according to the movement tracked by the National Weather Service in Jacksonville. I know but these marginal risk days here, sometimes they get upgraded, sometimes they don't. We've had these situations, really, we don't even have tornado warning, that we get these tornado touchdowns for whatever unfortunate reason here to warn the Stark region. So again, that could happen today. I'm not saying it will. There's no indication that it will in an imminent fashion. It's just we've had some bad luck with that going back to I guess it was 2020 there now, as we try to do the math on the years, end of 2020 there. We had a tornado on Christmas Eve touchdown there on 100, and then there's Southside Elementary in early December of 2021. Didn't have one in 2022, thankfully, but we don't want to start out 2023 on the wrong foot here with a rogue tornado touching down without a formal tornado warning. They both have thunderstorm warnings, but no tornado warnings. We just got an update from the Weather Service now. Coffee County. So this is going to be from earlier on. There's Coffee County up here, and it looks like 7 miles west-northwest of Bickley there. There's now reports of, and I'll have to go back on the radar to figure out if it was the one we were tracking there, maybe in between warnings, I'm not sure, but severe structure there Uh, they're talking about severe structural damage and trees down reported by emergency management in Coffee County along Highway 158 southeast of Douglas. Suspected damage may be tornado related, and the time is based off of radar. I'm gonna go back on my other source actually. I want to see this. It's kind of hard to pull up what we have on camera. I'm gonna try to put up my other source. So I'm gonna try to go into archive mode here and look back at 641. Sorry if my voice is trailing off a little. I'm just looking away from our screen for the present time. But I want to go back on the radar to see what this was. Just kind of figuring out if it was something we were covering live or not, since we're on. And if we don't have another threat arise on us here over the next little bit, I mean, if we don't have another warning or something like that, we may not be back on until we're on live covering that big threat on Tuesday toward the west. So we don't want to kind of just graze over this here. So let me try to dig in a little bit to that 641 benchmark there on our source. I'm going to try to select that and see what our Doppler was showing at that time. So get up toward Coffee County a little bit here, see what we were noting on the Doppler. Just bear with me. So that might have actually been a situation where it may have been a little bit before that benchmark, because I'm looking at the radar now. It looks like stuff was already past that area. So we have to do that later on, but not good to get more tornado damage reports. Hopefully everybody's safe, but we don't know 100% for all of our different areas yet. We had heard earlier in Cook County there were no injuries. That's what we heard from the report that came in there from emergency management, and I haven't heard anything different at this point to contrast that. So we'll keep watching everything. Just be really careful here. I mean, it's a situation I don't really want to stay on for hours and hours for stuff that's not warned here, unless it's just there's some type of reason to do so. But that's just something overly clear. We need to stick on with it. But I know you can go to clutter.com/radar when we're not on here. If we get another warning, we'll be on for sure if it's for the Stark area. No matter what, if it's a thunderstorm or a tornado warning, it'll be on. Discretion always says go on, even towards dark if it's a thunderstorm warning. Just a thunderstorm warning, though, has been more than that in some of our cases over the last few years. So we'll keep our eyes on things. You see north of High Springs, little bit of wind enhancement. Just pay attention to stuff like that. Pay attention to stuff along this line, moving on toward Lake Butler here over the next few minutes. Again, it's not looking all that great on some of our other modes, which is good news. I mean, the reflectivity doesn't show it as much. Okay, I think we're sticking with you a little longer. We just got a new warning now till 9 o'clock for parts of Nassau and Camden. So it's this area up here now. Up here, maybe near the state line. I think I saw it actually. There's some rotation right here. Just south, on the south side of Kingsland, really. Maybe trying to get something going there. So let's see what we have. It's popped up on our other system, so let's take it if we can. I'll go ahead and say that on our other source. We have some rotation here. I mean, this kind of overdoes it a little because we're so close to the radar, but still, a severe thunderstorm warning now being reissued for parts of Nassau and Camden counties until 9 o'clock. At 8:32, a severe thunderstorm was located near Kingsland, moving east at 40 miles an hour. So we have St. Mary's, Kingsland, Fernandina Beach, Keens Bay Bay, Sealy, High Point, Dungeness there, Cumberland Island, and Harriet's Bluff. Under this threat, there's that tornado possible tag sneaking in there as well still, as we've kind of indicated to you guys over the last little bit. So, again, still watching this scenario, monitoring everything that's going on in the Doppler scans. Again, no formal tornado warning right now. A lot of broad rotation, though, showing up, as you just saw, meaning a quick spin up is not out of the equation here in this area near the state line. Let's go back down to the south here. Again, not as robust looking, but a significant weather advisory does include Stark here, Laudy, Brooker, Hampton, as we're looking ahead. That's through 9 o'clock as well. We'll just have to keep watching the trends to see if this gets upgraded to like a warning situation. Maybe a severe thunderstorm warning, something like that. That's not out of the equation, or even a quick spin-up tornado prompting a tornado warning. But right now, up here, our bigger concern lies. You see the brighter colors in general on the Doppler means stronger winds are aloft, and that's what's trying to get this surface right so closer in on the radar here, which could be an indication maybe stuff is trying to reach down a little bit more. It looked like a little bit of stronger wind enhancement right in there, right on this pixel. If you, and I don't have a mouse on right this second, but near Owens Farm Road, I might have some of this about to be crossing over State Highway 5, US 17. They're just south of the state line. In fact, we have some cameras here right near the border. I've checked them out here recently. So let's go ahead and see if we can pull some of them up. I'll go ahead and get them up here in our system. So bear with me here, right near the state line, because I know in Georgia we don't really have them like this in this system on the Florida 501 perspective, the live views, but we do have them in Florida. So let me go ahead and see what we have right there near that state line. I want to make sure we're trying to keep you guys safe the best we can. Let me zoom in a little bit. So right there is where we have that fold and bend to the east a little bit, that jog. I'm going to try to find the best camera possible here as we're in this area. So let's go ahead and see what we have. This one looks like a clear one. I don't know how good it'll get. And this is really nasty little turn there on this camera from what it was just a second ago. Let's take this live because I just saw the snapshot and it just got really nasty there real quick. So let's take this live. This is right there, I-95 US 17. Some really nasty weather there. Right near the Florida-Georgia border. You see the deteriorating conditions, folks, with their flashers on. This is really taking a nasty little turn right now in this area. Again, just watching this perspective right now, the Florida 511 camera. Looks like maybe even a little bit of debris on the road. I couldn't tell 100%. It may just be the way the puddles are kind of moving across there. And the downpours are moving across in the wind with the shadows. But still, gotta be kind of mindful. This is some pretty inclement weather folks are having to go through right now, right near the Florida-Georgia border here. I-95 at US 17. Now you can see the nasty weather there for sure, making things very rough on the road. It can lead to accidents possibly, so folks got to be really careful here in this area as these conditions don't look all that good out there right now. So again, let's go ahead and move away from that shot for the time being as we're right near that Florida-Georgia border. I'll check some other cameras here, see what we got maybe, see if we have anything for you guys here on the air. I'm going to just see if this camera might give us a good view. It's possible it could be delayed trying to get in this area just a little bit. Might be able to catch it again. I'm not 100% sure though, but we'll go ahead and check it. This is I-95 north of US 17 there, mile marker 380.5. You don't see as bad a conditions at the moment here. I'm just wanting to see maybe if something comes in over the next few seconds that deteriorates things a little bit more so. You can see exactly what we're doing with it right now on the traffic camera view. So, again, Service Thursday morning at 9 o'clock for parts of Nassau and Camden. This is 8:37. It's the time frame we're in right now. They're saying they're indicating 40 to 50 mile an hour winds pushing through Nassau, and now I may be into Duval County with the gust front, so I have to pay attention to that here as well. This camera here, trying to see if it's deteriorating on us a little bit. I don't really see it at this moment. I mean, it could change, but we'll go ahead and move away from it for now. Just keep our eyes on different things here across the region. Just trying to keep our eyes on the situation. It's a one-man band, so I can't keep it up like on the screen necessarily while we're talking as much, or have somebody watching it really behind the scenes is what I'm alluding to, so they could just pop it in on me whenever the most dramatic view occurred. But watching a little bit of rotation down to the south here. Yeah, a little bit right there near, it looks like the Highway A1A, but it's not really impressive. Just a little bit of a notch. We'll keep our eyes on it. It's pretty close to the radar. Nothing really impressive, but right on the edge of the warning. Again, some strong winds just moving through the Kingsland area. Looks like maybe somewhat on the east side still near I-95. And then you can see here we're looking down to the south again on the Jacksonville radar. The stuff doesn't look quite as organized on the reflectivity, which is good news for start. Some of this activity out ahead may also help to kind of mitigate a threat here towards dark. We'll see. Hopefully that's the case. I hear the rain coming down now, actually. I thought it might happen about the time before it ended dark when I saw it on the view, and it's happened right this second here. Around dark, some of the rain starting to pick on up outside, but you can see here out toward the west, Lake Butler, a little bit of weak rotation there in that southern flank, but no debris there. No warning, of course, out here yet. Hopefully they don't get any on this area out here, but not out of the question with that marginal 1 out of 5 risk in play. Again, the big concern, the big focal point is up here near St. Mary's. You got some nasty winds coming in Eula. You could have some nasty winds. Becker, you're starting to get into them now. Fernandina Beach could have some nasty winds coming in over the next little bit as well. This warning goes for another 21 minutes here. So we got to keep our eyes on the situation for sure. When we go back on out on the view, you can see McClenny. You can see some stronger winds trying to get in toward there. You can see maybe even Rayford there. We had some strong winds. We got 40, 50, 55 miles an hour, not out of the question. They're just under severe limits. So again, this is what's headed towards dark over the next little bit. This stuff in here from High Springs up to Lake Butler to kind of loop it a little bit. You can kind of see the movement on it. It's headed toward Bradford County. So you don't want to be outside. You want to remember if ever you hear that thunder roar, you want to go indoors. But right now, the bigger concern is where we have reflectivity values a little bit higher, toward McClenny, toward Briceville here. You can see some of that just north side of Briceville, really, and southeast of St. George. And then really, though, this right here, this well-defined, and I talked about it earlier, mentioned it earlier, legendary meteorologist George Winterland, working in the Jacksonville market for so many years. He talked about this. He's talked about this a while back. I mean, before you really even looked at velocity, this is 15, 20 years ago. I just remembered it. It's just so important to kind of think about it. When you look at the radar, you go from nothing to the heavy rain real quick. And that kind of is indicative here. It's indicative here of the stronger winds trying to get down to the surface. You don't have to have velocity maybe to see that, even just when you have that quick delineation along a line. That's cause for concern here. Along this line, you can kind of call it a squall line if you want. I mean, it kind of is. It's kind of broken in some ways, and that's kind of limiting some of the threat, especially the south. But right in this yellow box, you have these three little shear markers even trying to sew up. Always have to watch out for a spin up, and we got a gust now 52 at St. Simon's Island. But when you have that area where we don't have any rain, I'll go ahead and point it out if you guys, you probably kind of understand what I mean. But let me just go ahead and point it out just to make sure here. So again, we'll go ahead and pop up our mouse again. So, because I'm not in front of the camera, this can kind of help. So St. Mary's, you can see here, no rain, but then you get in tight here. I'll zoom in, and then you go real quick from the blues to the greens there, to the yellows, to the reds. When you get that quick little sharpness there, that sharp edge, that helps you kind of get an idea there might be some stronger winds in this type of situation getting down to the surface there, from the aloft down toward the ground as this moves in towards St. Mary's again. Just got a gust St. Simon's Island at 52 miles an hour. So there's your gust actually outside the warning. So that's something kind of interesting to see as we're zooming in and out here in the Doppler technology. So again, no formal tornado warning in play, but these are some winds that can knock out power. Always important to have your devices charged up in these type of scenarios, just in case. Even down towards Starkey might. I mean, right now I'm not quite as concerned, I want to say, but I've just had a history here the last few years. Things kind of overachieve, so might be getting some strong wind around Lake Butler. Let me check Lake Butler's weather stem. I got that I can pull off. That's one thing about being off camera. I can check some of that stuff a little bit easier sometimes when we're off camera. So I'm just kind of typing that in another source. I want to see if they had any type of gust there. The weather stem cameras in that area. See if we have any type of gust there that might be worth noting. Let's see. I know there's just a couple. I think. Let's check the emergency management one. A gust to 18 miles an hour. 26 now, right when I pulled it up. So they're starting to get a little bit stronger. The emergency management site there in Lake Butler, 26 mile an hour gust. So that's not overwhelming. 27 now on that gust, and I'm watching it live behind the scenes. So I haven't had too much rainfall yet, but that's not overwhelming in terms of the number of gusts. We just got, and the number in the gusts. We just got a new update on the warning to 9 now. So the thunderstorm warning continues for parts of Nassau and Camden until 9 o'clock. We'll get back up to the north now. We're talking about 60 mile an hour winds possible in this area. Tornado possible tags doing this as well. These blue colors indicative of some stronger winds trying to get down to the surface in this type of situation. So again, we're just going to have to keep watching to make sure we don't have a quick spin up here. Quick spin up not out of the question, but these brighter colors sometimes can help get the stronger winds down in the right atmospheric setup. So checking some different things, seeing if there's any questions. I don't really see anything right now, but I'll keep on monitoring the situation here in the Weather Center. I'm just going to go ahead and check on what we're dealing with here. You can see it getting a little bit higher reflectivity values toward Lake Butler. Let me check my anemometer again here on this weather stem site. 27 mile an hour gust is nice. We got, can't see the cameras here on the air, but just checking the gust numbers anyway, and we got a gust of 27 miles an hour there. on that WeatherStem site in Union County, the Union County Emergency Management information right now, so that's kind of helpful to pass along. It could underdo it a little bit. I don't know the height of the actual weather station per se. If it's up pretty high, then that'd be indicative here. Maybe not a really nasty storm, just strong storms like what's being advertised by the Weather Service. Definitely that could be the story there right now, but could still knock a limb down, could still cause a little bit of a power outage, even if we don't have severe weather moving through that area. And I'm not on for the significant weather advisory situation. We're on because of the severe warning. So if this warning goes away here at 9 o'clock, we'll wrap it up. Unless we get a new warning on the board, it's just you can't really stay on generally for significant weather advisories. It gets a little bit just too really redundant here in nature. I mean, because especially in the summertime, you definitely can't even be up for all the thunderstorm warnings. Sometimes you have to be kind of playing those by ear as well. But just got another update from the tornado damage that probably occurred there toward Bacon County outside the area. Pretty significant one, it looked like. 5 miles north of New Lacey. Reports from social media indicated that touchdown occurred northeast of Alma, Georgia there on Whippoorwill Way. Trees and power lines were down there by the tornado, as you saw that really clear debris signature on the air. So again, that's what we were noting here. That's what we were tracking here in the Weather Center. And that's why we've been just covering everything for you. That probably was the strongest tornado in the region. That was technically outside of our 62 counties, but we made a note of it here during the coverage. I don't normally talk about areas there in Alma. Again, not quite in our zone, but we were watching that storm as it moved out, and you saw that debris signature pop out. One of the more fierce debris signatures you get in South Georgia here. I mean, it's been a while since we saw one that nasty looking, so that would probably indicate based on debris height an EF2 type situation. But that's for the Weather Service to decide, and we can't decide that based on radar. It's a guesstimate, pretty much an educated guesstimate here at this point, based on radar height. We're not just throwing out numbers, though. We are doing it based on some science. We're looking here at debris height. We're looking at the axial rotational numbers, as we are getting some corrections on that report. That was 6:48 when that damage occurred toward Bacon County. A few storms out there, but nothing concerning according to the Tampa office, as a thin line moving through areas there in Levy County is outflow dominant. The storms forming around Tampa are low topped and unfavorable for substantial intensification, but they're just going to continue to monitor just in case. But that's good news for our viewers down in Levy County then. They're not too concerned about the stuff down there. Really, probably at this point from about, I would say, Fairbanks, if you're in Alachua County northward, that's when you're still wanting to watch a little bit. And then we got a little bit of a notch on this storm southeast of Lake Butler, so don't want to completely let my guard down here. We'll keep watching this. I mean, it's nothing overwhelming, but we'll keep watching this over the next little bit. I don't see much, if any, lightning down here either. That's good news. Let's get back to the north, though. We have this warning around St. Mary's. You see, that's really strong wind aloft. If any of that's getting down there, that can be a problem. I mean, that's blue. That's indicating 60-mile-an-hour winds aloft in a widespread area. Not all of it's getting down. Not probably much of it's even getting down to the surface. But we'll continue to monitor things on the Doppler, on our informational sources here. Because things definitely overachieving for a marginal risk day. We kind of thought they might, that we talked about a threat Thursday, that we could have one today. The Wednesday threat looks more organized, but still doesn't mean in your neighborhood tonight's threat can't be the more problematic one. So just continuing to watch here, continuing to check all of our sources here behind the scenes. I want to make sure you guys are staying safe and know what's going on. When we're on the air like this, it's a one-man band, and we're just trying to pass along everything we can for you. Looks like the highest gust in Lake Butler is 27 miles an hour. So that's a little bit of good news there. Not overwhelming, but as we're watching here up in towards St. Mary's, these are some strong winds trying to come in and toward this area aloft. I mean, they're just showing up really wickedly. It's just a matter of they're getting down to the surface, because if they're knocking down trees and power lines. If these winds are getting down, if they're not getting down in a widespread fashion, then we're getting lucky. And that's a possibility too. So we'll continue to kind of watch our power numbers. Let me check these again. I know we haven't had these kind of catch up good sometimes. Camden, 432 customers in the dark right now, though, according to PowerOutage.us. So looks like right now Atkinson and Bacon highest percentages in Georgia. in the dark, according to the poweroutage.us map. Not tracking every power company, so that may not be encompassing everything. And all the areas that got impacted there, and the population density plays a role as well. So we just got to keep our eyes on things here for sure. Just got to keep our eyes on the situation. I know you're probably watching football or doing other activities here, or maybe watching me on a second screen. Whether you're watching me on your primary only screen or a second screen, just thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me here on this Sunday. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. We're at 8:50. Wow. Okay, they're going to have to issue a warning for this, I assume. I'm really kind of surprised by this. It's a loft. Their weather stations read some pretty high gusts before. This is one of the highest ones I've seen. Jacksonville Airport now measuring a gust of 73 miles an hour, and there's no warning down here. So, I mean, I know this weather station and is aloft. The anemometer is aloft. Look at how some of these pixels here. These are bright pixels coming right over there. The airport, it looks like. Maybe some of this stuff from this north and west trying to get in on it. Those pixels here are about in line, 78 miles an hour. So it's reading accurately here, and that's unfortunate. That might be causing some damage right near the airport then. We got a gust of near hurricane force now. Just, again, coming in the last minute right over GIA. This number 24 will change on us here in a few minutes. I might go and take it off for now. I don't want to confuse anybody, but Weather Service telling us here in the chat, we just got a gust of near hurricane force over there, the airport. 73 miles an hour. Hurricane force is officially 74 miles an hour sustained. This is a gust of 73, so just right below that. Category 1 hurricane gust, but by far the strongest gust we've got today. And they've now issued a warning for that because, I mean, obviously when you get a gust like that, you don't have a choice. It might be a downburst or, I don't know. You see these, it's right on the radar. This is very unusual to see this, but they were right at the airport, folks. And these winds here, indicative of very strong conditions occurring there. Let me go ahead and kind of back this up just a little. You can kind of see these bright color here right over the airport. This is a cone of silence, by the way. So you're not going to get any readings here. This is right there, though, right by the radar where we do get the readings, and they're really low to the ground. I mean, we're at 80 feet, 60 feet on the radar, and we're getting a really high gust, and we got a confirmed gust again to 73 miles an hour now. A warning in play for a broad area until 9:30, so I think we're going to have to be with you a while longer now. Unfortunately, that might kind of be a sign here, an ominous sign that things might try to strengthen down in the south a little bit as well. Then, if we're getting a gust that strong in the north, we have to be extra careful then, even down all the way through northern Alachua County to see if this doesn't get a warning down here over the next little bit. So, but right now, again, a gust near hurricane force just coming in at Jacksonville International Airport. Let me see if we got an update on this. It may take a minute to update, but yeah, gust near hurricane force there, right near the airport. Airport road, obviously, that could be disruptive. That could be really dangerous, honestly. I hope no planes were taken off during a gust like that. I mean, probably certain airport things that go into effect when you have a situation like this that would preclude a takeoff. I'm not really sure about aviation or meteorology here, so we're not going to try to dive too much into that, but that's kind of concerning, had a gust that strong and that nasty of a signature all of a sudden on radar right near the airport. I hope no planes were taken off. Actually, I'll check some different things here. I might see if I can get some information on that behind the scenes real quick. I can't guarantee I will, but let me just go ahead and check this for you. I want to make sure that everything is up to date the best I can anyway. You might hear our systems kind of get a little loud because kind of using a lot of energy. It looks like we have one plane going right through the storminess up there in Nassau County. I don't see any right around Jacksonville International Airport, though. We do have one, though. Looks like a flight from maybe Atlanta to San Juan. Yeah, going right through the storminess there in Nassau County, according to FlightAware. But I don't see anything right now in Duval County. It doesn't look like right near the airport. But I'll have to keep watching, keep tracking there. You just have to be really careful when you have storms in this type of scenario. So, again, we'll just keep our eyes on things here for sure. Just trying to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family here. Again, you rarely get a gust that high. We get a bunch of 60s, it seems like, out here, but to get a gust again, that's not accurate there. I'm just trying to get the updated number on the screen, but we got a gust in at 73 miles an hour at the airport here in Jacksonville. So let's take that back up. I'm just hoping we get an updated number in here. That's kind of what we're trying to do right now, as we're trying to keep you guys up to date on this scenario at large. So Again, just trying to give you guys some updates here. I'm trying to effort the latest information. So again, if you hear me typing behind the scenes, that's what I'm doing here right now. It's not that I'm necessarily ignoring you or something like that, but I just want to make sure that we give you the latest information. So if I don't talk for a few seconds, I apologize. But just trying to make sure you guys know what's going on. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning though for a wide stretch. As we're nearing the top of the hour, still a few minutes away. Central Nassau and Duval counties now under severe thunderstorms along a line extending from near Yulee or in the Yulee vicinity to near Ratliff to near Brightsville, moving east at 45 miles an hour. As considerable tree damage could occur, damage is likely in some cases to mobile homes, roofs, and outbuildings. This includes Jacksonville International Airport. And they go ahead and pull up our severe thunderstorm warning safety tips right now. Also, it looks like UNF there, Arlington, Jacksonville Beach, Atlantic Beach, Yulee, Neptune Beach, Cisco Gardens, San Pablo, and Fort Caroline here. So you don't want to have to be dealing with this type of situation right now. You're probably trying to watch football or something else, doing something else on a Sunday night. And unfortunately, you're dealing with stuff like this coming right on through here. Duval County is disrupting your evenings. So, again, that's what we're having to deal with. That's what we're dealing with right now here. That's why we're on live. So bear with me here. We're trying to get you the latest. Seeing a marine warning issued now. Fernandina Beach to St. Augustine. Obviously, marine interests need to be really taking heed from this threat. As you see the stuff down towards Stark, it's getting closer here. Even Lodi, it looks like some gusty winds to 50 there, moving toward Highland over the next few minutes. Let's go up to the north. I want to check debris on this. Let me see if we have any debris near the. You're not going to be able to see much. It's just not going to give you a good view. But if we had something more robust there with the winds, might show us on the debris tracker. But again, our gust number is still running behind. But we'll get that to come up here soon. As again, we had a gust of 73 up there. This is not severe officially down here right now, but we have to just keep our eyes on it. You know, and even down toward Brooker, we got a little bit of something. So let's just keep our eyes on that as well. Make sure we don't have any quick spin up on us over the next little bit. It doesn't look as organized in the line, but some of this stuff's been right sneaky today about causing problems with these gusts, and we just can't err. We can't. I mean, we need to err on the side of caution. We can't let our guard down. So you can see up toward Baldwin here, maybe some gust in that 50 range, and then again 60 plus, maybe 70 plus possible, as we just saw at the elevated height there toward Jacksonville International Airport just a little while ago. And when I mean elevated height, let me clarify that a little. So what I mean by that is people, of course, your roof is not going to be at level maybe of some of these anemometers. Sometimes seems like their airport's reading higher, and I would suspect that's because that anemometer's at a pretty high height there. And that means the winds may not completely translating down to the surface like what we're seeing on radar. But there's your gust now. It popped up. That's very rare to see. I mean, this is like something you see during a tropical storm or hurricane on our screen. And we're getting it right now here into Duval County. So, again, let's see if they have the height on here. 33 feet. If that's I'm not 100% sure they're talking about the elevation there, but the weather station. But if it is, that's a little bit higher. But that can impact planes, obviously. Taking off, something like that. That could be a problem. But we saw behind the scenes we didn't have any of that maybe taking place. So that's the good news. But just going to keep watching here, keep tracking. Looks like we got some new messages here. Just trying to see exactly what's going on as things are developing here in the Weather Center. So I know people watching football right now. Looks like the 49ers just took the lead over the Cowboys. So some folks talking about that. Obviously, you're probably watching on a second screen with football or a second screen with me right now as we're trying to keep you guys safe and informed. And that's definitely something you can do in these type of situations. I mean, it's not great having something like this happen during a big sporting event when people are wanting to pay attention to something other than weather. I mean, not many people generally want to just sit here and in terms of local viewers here really want to just watch weather hour after hour, but we feel it's necessary to be on right now. We want to give you the latest information. It can be important. It can be life-saving in some of these instances, and that's why we're on getting considerable wind damage possible there in Duval County with that 70-mile-an-hour gust here into Wardow region. So let's get back down to the south now. We're going to go ahead and look down toward Bradford County. You can see here right along 100, we got some heavy downpour action right there near Southwest 21st Street. Also near County Road 225 in there. This is not severe in nature right now, but as we get here toward the south, you can see some of this heavier downpour acts in State Highway 231. Not severe, but could have gusts upward to 55 according to the Weather Service in there. 60 is the threshold, or 58 really, but this threshold is 70 plus in toward Duval, and some of this could be reaching even in the outflow a little bit. And we have some little pixels that are trying to emerge as well. They're not lining up perfectly, but we're going to keep watching here, keep tracking the situation here in the Weather Center. So we got the warning. The other warning just went off the screen. That action's going off the coast. I wish this action really wouldn't have emerged into becoming a severe threat, but unfortunately it is. And it can be a problem that we have here in the word of metro area, a very populated area here at night. Could have winds in excess of 70 miles an hour. We at least had those at the elevated level a few minutes ago. So something to kind of be keeping in mind here as the action's still trying to get closer here into toward Bradford County. So again, you can see here some of this wind is trying to get closer towards Stark now. The new significant weather advisory 945 for parts of, it looks like Nassau, Bradford, Alachua, St. John's, Baker, Union, Clay, and Duval. So not severe in this area maybe, but some strong wind gusts coming into Stark over the next 15 minutes or so. We sit plus or minus 9 o'clock, and I think within 15, maybe 10 minutes for downtown, this will be coming on in toward the downtown area of Stark. So that's something to kind of keep in mind here. Got to be inside. Got to be just really being careful because you could still have a rogue lightning strike in here, even though not really seeing any at the moment. We saw it not too long ago, and during the night we had some lightning strikes popping up. I guess about a week and a half ago at this point. We had lightning strikes popping up during the night without any warning in play. That wasn't necessary to have a warning then, but you just got to be kind of careful here whenever thunder roars, even when that lightning threat is around. You want to just be indoors. These are some strong winds though coming in, and then again, much more dangerous winds it seems were measured there at JIA just a little while ago. 73 miles an hour, which is a very strong wind gust there. Again, the bat is up a little. You can really see when that happened. I mean, I know our gauge is showing it a little bit off, but it was right in there. We see that little blue there. I mean, it lines up perfectly. You rarely get something like that on the Doppler to line up that well, but that's what happened there in the Duval County this evening. So, again, that's why we're having to stick with you right now for this situation, because it's moving through a highly populated area here, causing us some problems. So, again, we just got to be here for you guys. That's what we're doing. Trying to be here for you guys to keep you guys safe, keep you guys informed on the threat here. I want to make sure you guys know exactly what's happening here on a busy Sunday here in the Weather Center. So, again, just monitoring things on the different scans. We're going to go ahead and zoom back on out a little bit. We're going to go ahead and zoom out toward Nassau County now. You can see what we're doing with there toward American Beach. Some pretty nasty gusts there moving toward that area over the next few minutes. Just continue to watch all the velocities. Again, I know some of you might not want to watch the coverage here unless you need to because it's important for you, but I mean, I know I really am passionate about keeping people safe and even watching other markets to do other coverage from time to time. It's just a situation where right now we have to be here with you to keep you guys safe and informed. It's imperative to do so in this type of circumstance. So you see 295 there. As we're getting toward Jacksonville, we'll be getting some of the stronger wind here, or at least outflow wind, or wind here just out ahead of the actual heavier downpours. And the heavier downpours may be a little more efficient getting this wind down toward the surface here. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I do notice there's not much of any lightning here, which is good news, even in Duval County now. So maybe a sign of weakening, but also we could have an issue here, really. I see a couple, one Charlton, one Nassau on my other mode, but it could be an issue here too, where the radar is kind of looking a little less clear because the rain's right over it there at the airport as well. So just got to keep watching, keep tracking as we give you the very latest. I know we're switching between different modes here, so I've done that a couple times today. I don't mean to do the double box there for you, but we're going to go ahead and keep up this mode. Let's see what we have there. southeast of American Beach now. See a little bit of rotation, but it's not enough really to be too concerned with. Again, about to get stuff into towards dark here over the next few moments. Got to keep watching that. Just got to keep monitoring the situation, obviously. Let's try to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on here. We're just trying to give you that vital information here. I know we've been on a long time today, but we have these warnings in play. We got to be real careful. We have the warning up to the north right now. Again, that's very rare to get a gust that high. Let me check our power outage numbers, see if we have any of those adding up. I suspect that the number's not going to add up as much as you would think for a gust that high because of the elevated nature of that gust. In fact, as the latest update, no customers in the dark in Duval County. So that's some good news. I know that site seems to read high compared to everybody else, but still you can't lay your guard down. I mean, these winds aloft are showing up that high. It's just maybe some of them aren't quite getting down to that roof level or power line level in the same intensity, the same veracity, really. But again, I just kind of keep checking here on our scans. Again, checking down toward Bradford County. No official warning here, but we have the advisory for gusts 50 to 55 miles an hour and a quick land spell, which is really a weak spin-up tornado. It's not out of the question here. And I do see a little bit of rotation here right near this site. That's right near Cecil Field. A little bit of wind enhancement there, maybe trying to come in, so we having to watch that gauge a little bit. But the warning up here is what we're really focusing on. Looks like a little bit of rotation here. It's not really set up good at all, though, in our actual, our other mode there, our reflectivity mode. But maybe some gusts there a little bit higher, you never know, along the leading edge. Could knock out a little bit of power here in Duval County, so got to keep tracking it here. The warning going into effect for another 24 minutes, so that goes into effect until 9:30 here, as they're trying to give you guys the latest information. So you can see Nassau County, you see some of that moving off the coast there, but in Duval County, we still have to get through it. In Jacksonville, downtown proper, over the next little bit, it's still very important to pay attention to this. You can see up toward areas in Laurie, some gusty winds of 40 to 50, maybe up to 55. Not out of the question there in northern Bradford County, but not severe. Not the reason we're technically on. We're on for the severe warning up here for the Jacksonville metro area, but because that's of higher concern. But we're here in Bradford County, and we're watching this stuff here down towards Stark as well with a keen eye. So again, let's just go ahead and keep watching the scans here as we're at 9:07 now on the clock, trying to give you guys the very latest here. You can see, just want to see exactly what's happening on the Doppler after this area gets through these areas up here, and then this severe thunderstorm warning area gets off the coast. We should start to look a little bit better. It seems like, I mean, it could just be the radar kind of attenuating some, but the radar is showing right now at least a little bit weaker picture with these storms, and the latest gust is a 40 now at the airport. So a little bit of weakening there maybe, which would be some good news. It seems like, I mean, it could be not the case, but it seems like this stuff's trying to maybe spread out a little bit with the winds, but it could just be the issue with us being so close on radar. I'm going to check our other site here, actually. I'm going to let that load in here real quick. Give me just a moment. We'll go to the broad perspective, I think, right now. Kind of give you guys a broad level view. You see the cool air toward Lake City. They're down to 59. So the wind's shifting direction there. I have a pressure pattern on too. I'll take that off just to kind of clean things up a little bit. Your severe threat in Lake City is over now. Live Oak is over. Tallahassee is over. Still some rain, but Austin is over. Adel, it's over. Albany, it's over. Some of these areas like Adel and McCulloch County, Bacon County, Coffee County, it looks like maybe the cleanup process will still be ongoing though. Even Walden County as well. Just getting these tornadoes to unfortunately touch down to the surface there and cause some problems. So even Lake Butler now, you're starting to get in a better situation. I know I have our warning on the screen now, information because of what we're dealing with towards JIA and Jacksonville International Airport until 9:30. So for another 21 minutes until we hear something a little bit more positive from the Weather Service. I don't want to wrap it up. And actually, radar's not really doing that good of a job with the velocity from further out. I'll pull up the reflectivity, but this is not going to help you at all almost because we're just getting too much of that purpleness there popping up on the radar that we're just too far away really to get a good accurate reading. So let's go back over to the other mode then. Again, you still see the winds different direction here to the east that still promotes some type of threat in that green area. Here's your tornado threat. Here's the wind area threat. So just kind of try to break that down as we go back and forth, toggle between them here on this Sunday, on this January 22nd. Again, we keep reiterating it 6 years ago today, a terrible, terrible situation that we dealt with there in southwest, south central Georgia with the deadly tornadoes. Hopefully we didn't have any injuries or fatalities today. We're not 100% sure yet, but we're hopeful that it didn't rise to that level. There's a chance it could have in some of those northern fringes, but Adele, at least from what I heard so far, we hadn't had any injuries reported there. So I'm going to check some other sources just to kind of cross-check that. But again, we're just trying to give you guys the latest information here. And definitely some stormy weather moving through there, Cook County, earlier on. So again, Jacksonville, severe thunderstorm warning for the 20 minutes. I know it seems like things are looking better on radar there. It's a situation we're right over the radar side. If it wasn't for that observation, I actually don't know if they would have issued a severe thunderstorm warning here, because we haven't seen any other things that are really saying that. I mean, though that airport radar scan, it might have been a downburst. I'm not sure. Right over the airport, that could have caused us some problems there in Duval County. I'll check our outage map again, see if we have any customers in the dark. And right now I don't see any in Duval County, but that's still a few minutes behind. So we'll still have to keep checking things here in the Weather Center. So again, we're still following things. You see some accident along Interstate 10 there in Duval County. Some gusty winds could be in that area. Trying to get down to the surface, not out of the question here. So we're going to keep watching the situation. I mean, it doesn't take much when you have this high of population density. I mean, coupled with the gusts so high, it doesn't take much to get damage down to the surface here out of this type of threat. Even though it doesn't look all that impressive on radar, we can't rule out some damage to the surface. So that's what we're kind of following along with right now. I'm hoping we can wrap the coverage pretty soon, but you just never know in this type of circumstance. So let's zoom back out. Stark's about to get into this. It seems a little bit weaker towards dark now. Let me take off our warning information again. I just hate somebody zoom in to the coverage here, going into the coverage, and I see the warning information when we don't have a warning down here. It's further to the north, but still kind of important to keep some of those precautions in mind. But Stark is starting to come in right now. It doesn't look that impressive here, but Laurie's getting a little bit heavier downpour, but even there, maybe gusting that 40 to 50 range, but I don't see anything that's overly concerning in terms of damage there, widespread damage. It does not mean a tree or something like that or a power line that's vulnerable couldn't fall in this type of situation, but it's not enough of a widespread concern for the Weather Service to issue a thunderstorm warning at this time. So that's the good news. Going back to the north now, you can see some brighter colors though, indicative of at least stronger winds aloft. And again, that gust to 73 was really pronounced there on the anemometer information out of GIA. It's something that sticks out. You don't get that very often around here. So again, that's what we're dealing with right now. That's what we're kind of dealing with in this type of situation. So again, we just want to be here for you. I know there's other things you can be doing with your Sunday night. We thank you so much for tuning in and trusting me here in the Weather Center. I mean, maybe you do have family and friends in this area and want to know what's going on. At this point, it's not to the level we were dealing with earlier with those terrible tornado warnings in play, especially the one toward Bacon County, Georgia, just outside of the area. But still, we got stuff that is pretty nasty in nature. They're still calling this a considerable damage threat through 9:30 with a tornado possible tag in there for that quick spin up potential. So we got to still be on guard here. We can't let our guard down as we have this potential coming on through over the next little bit. Started reflectivity has got a little bit stronger again. It's kind of waning and waxing again. It may have been kind of underdoing it a little because I've talked about this before, because the radar kind of getting hit with all that rain and wind up there at the airport region. It may be kind of giving us a little bit of false good news here. It's possible that is kind of underdoing it because of that, just the fact that the rain's all coming down around it. But again, watching in the north here, the wind potential. We're watching the warning through 9:30 up here. There's a trim back of it. I think that's the 903 to 40, but then it gets much more significant at 73 a little bit earlier on. Again, almost hurricane force. Again, UNF, Arlington, JIA, Jacksonville Beach, Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, Mayport, Craigfield, San Pablo, Amelia City under this warning. Just make sure you're in that lowest floor of a sturdy building. Interior room really would be preferred, but Again, got to be careful. You see a little bit of lightning there near I-10 in Duval County. We're watching down toward Bradford County. We're about to get the rain and nastiness here in Stark. It seems like it's not really robust though. Let me see if we have any information of any tree limbs or anything like that down in Bradford right now. Some different things I can check. I don't see any of that at this point, so that's some good news. We're going to keep checking though, keep monitoring things as I'm looking behind the scenes. I don't see any of that right now, which is definitely a positive storyline, but it's still getting through Stark as we speak, so that could still change on us. Definitely could still change on us here as this accident comes on through over the next few moments. So, again, we're just trying to give you guys the latest information here in the Weather Center. Been on for a period of several hours today, probably 3 hours give or take earlier on, and now about an hour with this stream. Again, no warning for Stark, but the warning is in play up toward Duval and a little bit of Nassau counties here until 9:30. I know we have some cameras we can go to out here. I may go ahead and pop them up. This would be toward Duval County, maybe I-95, or check that out, maybe 295 and I-10, the interchange there. If we have some, might be good to go to. That might be a good spot to get us at here on the view, possibly. Just trying to evaluate things here, that general area. So let's go ahead, see what's going on. Here's the rain picking up where we're at. It's also picking up in Duval County. The cameras we have right now, probably too dark to see much, but it's picking up in Bradford County now. But let's go up to Duval real quick. You can see this is looks like a little bit of ponding on the roadway. This is US 90, Beaver Street at 295 actually. A little bit of that wind showing up. Nothing really pronounced, but we'll keep our eyes on some of this action here as they're looking outside right now. You see a little bit of that wind now picking up, blowing the rain along the street a little bit. As I kind of put a mouse on the screen to show you that. If you can't make it out, you probably can, but if you can't, just depends on what screen you're looking at and different factors. But there you go. You can see some of this wind kind of trying to pick up a little. It's not overly impressive looking. This car's getting by there, but did get a gust on a buoy to 40 around Fernandina. I'm hearing rain really pick up where we're at now. Unless we get like lightning or power flashes, we wouldn't see it on our camera that I can go to since it's dark. But I will go ahead and go back on over here. The rain's really picking up in Stark, so I'm going to give you guys a radar view now if you're hearing that on your roof. So this rain right now is just moving into what area near Bradford Court, Bradford Drive. Also near Mimosa Drive there. You can see as I'm getting over here, it's going to be a little bit behind, but not by much. Besant Road getting into some of this Thomas Street. You kind of get the idea here. Some of the heavier rain started to move on in now with this downpour. Checking some information here. Checking some of the data here in the Weather Center. Radar showing gust about 40 in this. My weather station looks behind me. It's not showing a gust too high right now. Looks like our highest gust maybe this afternoon actually, with some of this stuff still 19 miles an hour or so. Kind of try to get that information for you. So that's some good news, but we'll have to keep watching, keep tracking it as it comes on through to where Duval County, that is where we have to form a warning. You can see here, it looks kind of disheveled, but the radar's not going to be telling it perfectly here, not doing it justice completely. We're going to go ahead and go back up there, go back up to the north there a little bit, and kind of have that view up as I zoom out, and the view to the south, down toward Bradford County. I know we're continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. The rain coming on through Bradford, it doesn't seem that impressive at all from what I'm hearing. And in Bradford County, at least where we're at, in eastern Bradford, velocity could still get us a quick gust a little bit higher, but not all this is getting down to the surface, I don't believe. Don't say that, I can't say that for 100% certainty because I'm not in every area, but maybe it's another area is getting a lot higher gusts, so still be careful out there. But just based on what I'm seeing and hearing, our gust on the anemometer sure didn't get very high here with this, not much even in the way of rainfall, to be quite honest, here in the Bradford region. That's from a few minutes ago. But again, we're still watching Duval County here, still watching the situation up there. We're just going to keep watching this here, monitor the Doppler scans as we're looking at Jacksonville. We're looking at the metro area there. You still see some gusts that could be trying to get down to the surface. Feel like we'd be getting more reports in at this point if we were really getting the gusts down to that damaging level. Let me check power outage numbers again in Duval. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. So Give me a second here. Only 5 customers in the dark now being reported. PowerOutage.us. So I'm hoping they go ahead and drop this pretty soon, unless we get some new gust in that kind of suggests that this needs to be continued here. So I'm gonna keep checking some different things behind the scenes here. We're at 9:20 on the clock. I feel like at this point we could still have some power lines being knocked down or some tree limbs being knocked down. And since we're in a metro area, we still got to be kind of cognizant of this potential. So just kind of be careful out there. I'm going to keep the stream going, but I think we're going to take about a 5-minute break right now. If we get some more information in that's more concerning, I'll jump back in. But 40-mile-an-hour gust at Hurlon Regional Airport there in Jacksonville. But no tornado warnings right now. The one severe thunderstorm warning. Not getting a lot of reports in, but we'll have this map up, and I'll jump back in here in about 5 minutes. Quicker, though, if I need to jump back in sooner. So keep it tuned to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you up to date here. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch.
This is a clouds weather alert.
Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center at 9:26 on this Sunday. You can see here we still have that warning for at least another 4 minutes for parts of Duval and Nassau counties. Checking the chat session right now. I don't see any update quite yet on if they'll extend this or not, but we'll keep on watching because you just never know in this type of situation if things will get extended or not, because we had that gust to 73, but since then I haven't seen anything indicating severe conditions necessarily, but the radar's kind of in a bad spot right now still. It's not able to sample things perfectly, and sometimes things, when they're happening in the here and now, you get reports a little bit delayed. So looking at power outages in Duval, still don't really see anything, so that's the good news. But did get a gust to 47 at Mayport here a little while ago. It looks like a gust to 35 at Craig Municipal Airport. So the gusts right now don't look severe in nature, and you see toward Clay County some gusts there. They're telling us now they're expiring the warning. So that's the good news, folks. The severe thunderstorm warning has been expired now for Duval and Nassau counties. It's just got taken off our other board. It may technically stay in effect on 9:30, but since it's in the tornado warning, I think we're pretty good to go to wrap this up for now. If we have to come back on, we will. We'll come back on a different stream, though. We're wrapping this stream up for now. But thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. The severe thunderstorm warning now has just been expired for parts of Duval and Nassau. Still some gusty winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour, maybe possible in that area. We'll keep our eyes on that thread. I'll back this up just one frame. That's where the warning was in play, but still gusty winds possible in this situation. But you see our wind direction shifting here. We're in the cool air to less favorable severe conditions, though. So if we have anything else to pass along, we'll come back on or post about it. But otherwise, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. The severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire from the National Weather Service in Jacksonville. That was in play. That prompted that gust to 73 miles an hour.